Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff, and as the thingamajigger says, this is more just of a hangout time. I've been having a lot of trouble lately with internet connection just kind of crashing whenever I'm trying to record stuff. So I thought I would just do a show. I was just online with customer support for my internet provider for quite a while, trying to get it to work. So I thought there's no better way to test to make sure it's working fine than doing a stream. And on that note, I'm going to change it back here. What I'm going to be doing today is pretty much just chatting about the new Skaven stuff that was revealed to us. Very, very excited about that. And yeah, so let's dig in. So we'll go. I don't know why I just did that. Okay, we'll go back here. And we're going to dig. Oh, hitting the wrong buttons. We're going to dig into that article here. If you'll forgive me, I'm just going to move my web application thing there to the bottom so I can keep an eye on the connection. But yeah, okay. Everyone says it's smooth. That's good. Yeah, basically what's happening, my router needed to be refreshed, but like internally, like on a system-wide thing, and so that's why I kept crashing. So that's okay. Seems to be the issue, but everything looks solid green right now. So yeah, we're moving into this Skaven article, and very excited about it. One of the things, the minor things that I think is really exciting about this is this kind of stuff right here on the screen on the left. It's the little, like, instead of big grand pieces of art, it's just little accent things that are so faction specific. Like, I remember the Beast of Chaos book. I love it. Like the icons for the different interpretations of what the gore and stuff look like versus like the Brass Stampede icon versus the Slanesh battalion. I don't know. These little bits of art that they put in the books that break up sections and things like that. I love it all. So it's all awesome. Let's see. Your prayers to Grohorn Rat have been answered, and the Skaven are finally getting a battle tome of their own. I am so excited about it. Skaven Tide seems to be a new keyword for us all. That'll be interesting. And they kind of give you a little bit of a breakdown of who the Skaven are. If you're one of the folks who joined Age of Sigmar recently, you may not have the background of understanding what the faction is like, that kind of thing. This is the section that is most pertinent to me. The story. Battle Tome Skaven follows the long, strange story of the Skaven in the mortal realms, exploring the nature of the Great Horned Rat. Perfect. I want to have a video dedicated to the Great Horned Rat. Gnaw holes, important stuff. And Skaven society. You'll also find loads of evocative new artwork that brings the world of these vile rat men to life in grotesque detail. That's exciting. It's perfect for inspiring a collection. Yeah, basically buy the stuff. You're going to fall in love with it and you're going to buy the stuff. It's not cynical. It's what they want, and it's what I suggest. Let's see here. Then we're going to crack into... actually, let's pause on this just because Kenzie just dropped in the chat. I wonder what this is going to do for lore as the Great Horned Rat Ascendant. So the way things have left off is that there was the 4 Chaos Gods Pantheon. Slanesh got detained, I guess you could say, by the elves. And so Khorne and I want to say Tzeentch are the ones who really creeped into Slanesh's space, kind of in the Chaos realm. Khorne more powerfully, I think. And the Great Horned Rat kind of is in this ascended place where he is a Chaos God. He certainly has enough followers to warrant being a deity. But the other 4 just don't acknowledge him as such. So it's a question of, like, what do you really consider it takes to be a god? Is it the acknowledgement of others, or is it followers? Or I hope those are concepts we explore. I don't have a solid answer. But I want to know why he ascended to godhood rather than some others. So, yeah. Oh, Rob just dropped in a super chat. Thank you so much, Rob. That means everything to me. I think the new Skaven and Flesh Core Endless Spells and Terrain Pieces are the worst garbage GW's ever produced. Every one of them just reuses old scopes. I disagree. But that's alright. I mean, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of the Flesh Eater Court terrain. The throne, I'm still kind of wrapping my head around it. But I respect your opinion, and thank you for your donation to spread it, and I will share it. The thing about I talked about kind of in the last stream that got cut off because of technical troubles. I wasn't a fan of every faction necessarily having terrain pieces, especially ones that are static. Like knotholes I like because they can pop up in the battlefield, that kind of stuff. But the throne just kind of being there, I'm like, how do they move the throne? How do they bring the throne to battle? The chalice is probably another one where I'm like, for the Flesh Eater Quartz Endless spell. The ones I do like for the Flesh Eater Quartz, though, is the horses. The horses coming out of the ground looks sick and awesome. The gate thing, it's not. It lacks a lot of dynamic elements. But if you're looking for a death themed like palisade or whatever, like palisade is the crystal wall in the spell. I think it's good. It saves a kit bash for someone else doing the same thing. As far as the Skaven endless spells, the twirly ones with the what looks like warpstone in them, they weren't bad. They didn't grip me. The rats I was kind of expecting after seeing the Spider Fang one. Yeah, I mean, I have to say I'm with you in the sense that I was certainly not blown away by them. Do I think they're indicative of a lazy design team? Not really, but I was certainly like, I'm infinitely more excited about the Bombardier and the Flesh Eater Court Archregent or whatever he is, the leader guy, than I am about the endless spells. And the terrain I'm very meh about. But yeah, so anyway, thank you for that awesome donation, and also just opinion. You know, these opinions are valid. It's easy. I remember like the negativity that came out when Beast of Chaos came out. The only thing they got was the Herdstone and the endless spells, which those endless spells generally, with the exception of the saxophone of death, are not really that outstanding. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna move in here. So yes, I'm very excited. The biggest lore topics that I have on my mind are, one, I want to do a video about the Great Horned Rat. I want to do. I'd love if there's enough lore in there, updated lore, to really dive into each of the factions. Probably skip past ones unless they add something new. I'll probably do a video like covering if they update anything. But yeah, I mean, just jumping in to all the different factions. I want them. Really what I want them to do is write a history for the Skaven. I mean, these guys, if they can be anywhere, they can have these most ludicrous stories of engaging different people groups and factions all across time, because they could have been anywhere. And so that's kind of an interesting thing to me. Knotholes make that a very interesting dynamic. We pulled up this piece of art here. We were talking about this, me and the Rerolling Ones guys, where it's Keratin Overlords and Skaven. That's clearly Thankful and Bone Ripper. We do know, I don't know if this is an audio dramas, but Jack from Rerolling Ones does, and Thankful did make it into the Age of Sigmar. I was kind of assuming they were going to be like Greyseer on Rat Behemoth or something like that. But no, he's Thankful, as far as you know. Might be a non-named variant of some kind, but yeah, he's there. And or maybe make Bone Ripper not named, and then you could have Thankful, and then also just the Bone Ripper dude. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, in this picture they got some clan rats. Obviously the what do you call him? The Decimator dude's big Gatling cannon on his arm. Thankful Bone Ripper, and of course the Keratin Overlords getting their teeth kicked in. We were laughing about this because pretty soon I'm going to be diving into Keratin Overlords, and Shu from Rerolling Ones really loves Skaven, so we're gonna make this thing happen. It's very exciting for us. Let's see here. I'm gonna pause there and hop back in the chat here for a quick second. Oh, sorry, I mean to do that. Let's see here. Yeah, you know, the terrain things is I see a lot of back and forth. It's some of those things, like some people love it, some people hate it. I'm on the fence about most terrain, seeing that like I have a very I don't know, not straight way. Some terrain I love, and some of it I'm like meh. So I get it. The debate's not going to end. Rob says doesn't having physical knotholes that the enemy can see take away from the advantage of unpredictability. Yeah, you know, at some point, game mechanics have to meet story stuff. What would be really fun I mean, if you want to talk about unpredictability, you put down 3 gnaw holes, roll a d3, you have to deploy from one of those because the Skaven themselves don't know where they're coming out, and that would be an interesting thing. So there's ways to do it. We haven't even seen the book yet, so let's just give it a chance to come out. We don't know what the gnaw hole mechanics are as far as deployment, unless it's in this article and I just didn't read ahead. But, well, when we read this, and we'll get there. Let's see here. Buckle in. There are loads of these. The Skaven armies have 4 allegiance abilities that apply across to everything, and 6 allegiance abilities for specific clans. Okay. First, you've got the overwhelming mass and strength in numbers. We've seen one of these before, and I absolutely love it. Overwhelming mass is add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by Skaven Tide. It's a new keyword. I'm assuming that means general Skaven units. While they have 20 or more models. In addition, add 1 to wound rolls to their units if they have 30 models. Okay, so if you have 30 plus, you get +1 to hit and +1 to wound. Awesome. I believe that, isn't that a clan rat rule? And they probably just extrapolate that and put it across the entire army. That's not bad. Unstable Child says he likes the contrast of Underground Skaven and Sky Carrigan. Yeah, dude, it's sick. And the second thing is strength in numbers, which is one that I've seen come into play quite a bit. And that is when a Skaven Tide, I'm sorry, put my phone over there and shut it off. When a Skaven Tide unit takes Battle Shock test, add 2 to its bravery characteristic instead of 1 for every 10 models in that unit. That is going to be massive if you remember to use it, which is always the biggest thing when it comes to Battle Shock modifiers. It's just remembering it. But I can tell you, like, for Beast of Chaos, I would kill to have that rule. That's amazing. Let's see here. The other 2 are lead from the back and scurry away. Lead from the back is actually going to be really nice. So, Lookout Sir rule applies to an aim attack made with a melee weapon as well as a missile weapon. If the attack is, if the target is a Skaven Tide hero, that is not a monster. Okay, so I'm assuming that Thankful Bone Ripper won't get this. So you get -1 to hit for melee and shooting. And if you take something like the Griff Feather Charm, you can be -2. You can make these guys pretty survivable. So that's kind of exciting. And then Scurry Away. In combat phase, when you pick a friendly Skaven Tide hero to fight, you can say that it's going to scurry away instead of making a pile-in move and then attacking. If you do so, that hero must make a normal move and must retreat. Okay. So that's kind of cool. It kind of gives you a chance to pull out of combat so you can dictate where the combats are happening. That's kind of nice. Let's see here. Unstable Child, he noticed me. I try to notice everyone. Whenever I get to break sections, like I'll take a break when we finish the special rules, and I'll hop back in the chat. So it's just a lot to read both things at the same time. Let's see here. I'm not one of those professional gamer YouTubers, although I will be doing that soon. Let's see. Clan abilities. Okay, specific clans are a bit fancier. Clan Scryer and Pestilence abilities will be familiar from their appearance in Last General's Handbook. Okay, if you're not familiar, so Clan Pestilence gets super prayers they can do, which are really cool, really thematic. We went through that in Pestilence Week. And if you're not familiar, Skyer, not Scryer, because I've been corrected so many times. They have this like resource mechanic for like their warp generators, and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can spend it on rerolls, and I don't know. This is really cool. So it's a secondary thing. It kind of goes with command points, but then there's a lot more resource management going on. But very cool stuff. Let's see here. And are joined by new allegiance abilities for each of the main clans. Take the clan Verminous. You'll be able to give a command trait to 6 Claw Lords, giving you loads of versatility. We're assuming, I say we, me and the Rerollings one guys, seem to assume that this is either just a renaming of an existing hero, probably just like instead of the Warlord, he's a Claw Lord now. Is it definitely our guess? But basically, you can give 6 of those dudes command traits. And we haven't seen the command traits yet, so we don't know what that means. There's no context to it. But just looking at what things we've already seen, where like Slanesh has a way to get multiple command traits, it's awesome. It's actually really, really awesome. So that's kind of cool stuff. Let's see here. So you get to pick a different command trait for each one of them. You can use the command trait for the Claw Lord, even though they are not your general. Important side note there, but yes. So 6 general level dudes on the table is kind of awesome. Up to 6. You don't have to take 6. Or the Clan Molder with prized creations. You'll be able to make your favorite Hell Pit abomination even deadlier. At the start of the first battle round, before determining which player has the first turn, you can pick one friendly Clan Molder Fighting Beast model for each Clan Molder in your army. For each Master Molder in your army. Okay, so you have a hero called the Master Molder. For each one of those, you can pick a Fighting Beast. The same Fighting Beast cannot be picked more than once to benefit from this ability. Add D3 to the wounds characteristic of each of those models. In addition, you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with melee weapons by these models. Okay, so you at the start of the battle, for every hero, one of these heroes you have, you pick one of their beasts. You give them an additional D3 wounds and reroll hit rolls of 1 for their melee attacks. Incentivizes you for having an equal number of beasts and monsters to hero dudes. Someone just pointed out, David Blenner, thank you so much, that Master Molder is very much likely the old Packmaster kit to do with the prod. Oh, there's a few different sculpts for the Packmaster, but yeah, basically the Beast Tamer guy, which is really cool. All these abilities work in tandem. For example, you could field a Grey Seer wizard, Death Master, and a couple of Claw Lords in the same army. Each would benefit from their own allegiance abilities. Okay, so this is an important note. This little sentence here. The operating assumption I had before was that you have to dedicate your army to being Clan Molder, and then you would get the Clan Molder thing. But this is saying no. This applies army-wide. So no matter what you bring, as long as you have one, what do they call them, Master Molder, and at least one beast, you get this thing. The rest of your army could be Skyr. It could be Verminous, and you'll get that. For every Verminous hero, up to 6 of them, you get a command trait. So all these things are going to stack together. So depending on what all these traits are, that's going to be super freaking good. We've already talked about, I don't know. I think it's going to be amazing. Here's the thing. It's going to be a fan favorite because they're Skaven. But the versatility in what they just described, only giving us 2 of the clan traits, huge. Just looking at this, based on what I see, take 2 big blocks of Skaven clan rats, you're going to get the strength in numbers, overwhelming mass, and that'll be your great battle line choice just to clock stuff up. And behind there is just everything that's special, the Molder beasts and the Verminous dudes leading the pack. It's going to be awesome. At this point, I'm going to pause real quick and go hop in the chat because I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff. Let's see here. Joel says, you love punishment, playing KO. Such a cool army. I've never been able to win a game. Yeah, for me, they're going to start mostly as a painting break because I'm already losing steam on painting beasts. It's just a lot of the same thing, a lot of horde units. And people seem to think that I'm immune to burnout. I'm so not. I do get burnt out. I just refocus my efforts on switching when I'm painting. It's just in this case, I'm trying not to sell the army to get another one. So that's the only difference. Let's see here. Oh, sorry about that. Completely unrelated question. Is it bad to have over 3,000 unread emails? Yes, because that sounds stressful. Let's see here. Is it me? Did it look like there's new clan route models? I don't think there's new ones. Let's see. This is probably the clan route one. No. I don't think so. Doesn't look like it. The shields are all the same. I don't know. Maybe it's an odd angle to get the clan rats because you're kind of looking at them top down, but they don't look particularly new. Let's see here. Two stuff. I am planning on a Celestin Prime and converting him into an angry dwarf standing on a dwarven statue. That sounds awesome. That actually sounds really cool. Let's see here. Doug, I have to say, you're the only person I know, beside myself, who is more hyped for Flesh Eater Courts right now. Thanks for sticking with me. I am because I find as much as I think Skaven are important from a narrative perspective and like being the most original IP that, well, one of the more original IPs that Games Workshop has, I just happen to like Flesh Eater Courts more, and of those two factions, for a few reasons. But yeah, well, I'm kind of jumping me around here. Let's see here. Mike Thompson, after a long day, that all the classic races represented with a battle tome, unify the Highborn. You know, me and Brent were talking about how people mocked me when I said the way that they reorganized things on the GW website was a sign of the way factions were going to be coming out in the future. And when this dropped, the Skaven information, he was like, look, Doug, you were totally right about that. And my first thought was like, but what about elves? The elves, they took all the remaining wood elf stuff, high elves, and dark elves and mashed into one thing. And that one section is so huge. That's the only one that I'm like, that is the exception to my thought process. And it gums it up every time. I'm like, that can't be one thing. It's so many dudes. But I could be totally wrong. Let's see here. Christopher Thiel, getting burnt out on my fire slayers already. I got so many more dwarf boys to go. Yeah, that was a hard one actually when I did the fire slayers, and that's actually why I traded them off to Jack for the Iron Jaws, because fire slayers are flesh colored and gold for the most part. I had the big red beards, but and then I got the Iron Jaws, which were green and blue. I just wanted to paint something different. Too much stuff. Do you think we would see new FEC models? I love the fluff, but they lock model diversity. Besides the Arch Regent dude and the endless spells and the terrain piece, I'm assuming. Probably not. I wouldn't think so. I think the closest, probably the best hope we have is if anything gets announced at LVO, but it's so late because then it would go for pre-order like in 2 days. I highly doubt it. Kenji says the old clan rats are gone. Maybe they're being rebased. I have no idea. They don't look. I mean, and here's the thing. Even if they're new, I'll be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong, but these don't look vastly different than the other clan rats. Maybe there's a size difference. But I'll be pleasantly wrong. But I just don't think they're super, super different. Okay, looks like I've caught up with the chat. You guys are just chatting with each other. Cool. So let's talk about spells. That was the next thing here. Skaven are not getting one, but two magical lores to draw from. First is the lore of Ruin. Is available to Grey Seers and contains all sorts of hideously effective curses. Splinter, for example, lets you pick out a key enemy model and slay them. Ugh. Splinter has a casting value of 6. If successfully cast, pick one enemy model within 6 inches of the caster and roll a die. If the roll is greater than that model's wound characteristic, it is slain. Now, the reason why that is super important is we now live in a day and age, and this is punishing to 40k players, as I've noticed, who come over to Age of Sigmar. With the way Battle Shock works, where basically now if models in a unit are out of coherency, meaning not within an inch of each other, you have to keep removing dudes until you're back in coherency. Having the ability to pick a singular model and go, I want that guy dead. Forget that guy. And you auto-delete them, which in this case, say it's a Liberator, right? A shield, nice long shield wall Liberators. You pick out the middle guy. Now your opponent has to delete one of the halves to make it back in coherency. And so being able to say, that dude right there needs to die is a super cool ability. Spell range is only 6 inches. My assumption, this is based on absolutely nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if there was ways of roll a die on a 1, you take mortal wounds, but on a 2 up, you get to increase spell lore. I don't know, something like that. Let's see, that already existed on one of the Vermin Lords, but had a longer range. Yeah, my thought, like I said, I think they're going to add ways of manipulating magic more. But I just wanted to bring up the importance of why now in 2nd edition, because that's been around for a while, that mechanic certainly has. It is critically important right now. So you can punish people for doing trailing units out, that kind of stuff. Clan Skyer, I want to point this out because people give me crap about this all the time. I'm pretty sure earlier There was no R there. Like on the one up above when I read it earlier, there was no R. We're doing this. We're fact checking these guys. Ha! They misspelled it on their own page. That makes me feel so much better. So in this one, there is no, it's SKY, and down below it's SKRY. Okay. On the other hand, get the lore of, we bring this up because we've been joking with each other all day about how all of us pronounce it wrong except for Brent, who is like the true gray seer of rerolling ones. On the other hand, get the lore of the Warpvolt Galvanism, which is the coolest name for magic lore ever. I just imagine like 1,000 Nicholas Teslas like tossing lightning balls at each other, allowing them to supercharge nearby units or shield themselves from harm. Okay, so this seems much more offensive, defensive rather than like particular effects. So more. War power, for example, gives your chosen unit rerolls to hit and wound to the next hero phase, causing your damage output to increase enormously. That is awesome. Let's read the actual thing. So cast on a 7. Okay. If cast, pick one friendly clan scryer unit wholly within 12 inches of the caster, invisible to them. You can reroll hit rolls and wound rolls for that unit to your next hero phase. However, at the end of your next hero phase, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Okay. So I love spells like this. The first time I saw a spell that was kind of like this was Beast of Chaos, where you get a really good pro, but a really bad con at the same time. And I like that. I like when spells are not just purely good, purely bad. They're decision-making tools. So D3 mortal wounds is a big deal. Just like the Beast of Chaos one, where it's like, you get to reroll all failed wound rolls, but you're -1 save on a army that's already really crappy save. So I find that interesting. That's a cool one. And that's not even half of it. Ooh. We haven't even gotten into improved war scrolls, war scroll battalions, or the 36 artifacts available to the army. Buh. So there's so much going on. Let's see here. What is an army? Actually, I'm going to pause, go back to the chat. It's kind of the way I do things. Let's see here. Table stuff. Is it gamey to take Dispossessed with 2 hand weapons and shields based on the wording of the rules? Usually you have to choose between a hand weapon and a shield or 2 hand weapons. So it's not gamey, it's just against the rules. Because it tells you, I mean, I haven't read the war scroll you're talking about in particular, so don't quote me on that, but my assumption is usually it's a hand shield and a weapon or 2 weapons. So you have to pick. Or if your opponent's cool with you just doing whatever, do whatever. I always leave that caveat. On the App Store, it's Scryer. Okay. Yeah, they got the name. The only reason I brought up it wrong is people correct me all the time, and I'm sure I'll be corrected when I do a lore video on them multiple times by people on both sides. But I just thought it was funny because they also seem to struggle with that, and that makes me chuckle. Okay. Rob says, do you think Skaven will lose any units like giant rats or rat swarms because the endless spells that use the same models? I'm torn. So officially, there's no word that anything's going away. My thought would be, I really want them to rebox the mortar teams, all the stuff that came in the Island of Blood set. They had like 2 little like weapons teams dudes who I don't think I've ever seen them separately. So those need to become separate units because Island of Blood was discontinued for a while and they might do it again. So I don't want those to go away. For other things, let's go check out what do they have now that is probably on the chopping block. Let's go find out. We're going on a field trip to Games Workshop. Skaven view all. Okay. Well, obviously the Vermin Lord kit's staying around. Those are only like 3 years old. All this looks safe. Gisele's are actually a pretty nice kit. For up to me, the Plague Sensor Bears would go away because the resins are terrible. I'm trying to think. Looking towards the bottom. I want Gutter Runners to be different, but they're definitely the old Skaven heads. There are some Rattling Gun teams. Okay, there's some cool stuff here. Night Runners. Clan Rats. in the Warp Grinder team? I have no idea. Let's see. No, I don't know. I don't actually know this range enough to know what's been around for a while. Rat Swarms, I want them to be around because I like the idea of like little tiny horde units. The closest analogy thing I can think of for them would be like the Gretchen that were in the Forest Goblin sections, and those got deleted, but then again, so did everything else in the Forest Goblin area. So I'm not quite sure. Let's see here. Oh, rat swarms. I didn't see that or one of the pictures, so sadly not. Yep. Actually, that's probably one of the pictures we looked at earlier. With the big army pick. Here we go. Oh, yeah. They're down there in the bottom. I don't see gutter runners. Does anyone else? I don't think that's them in the bottom left. I just see clan rats. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. Do you think we'll get some new characters? I wouldn't be surprised if everything new coming out for this Skaven was already out, just because the next time that they would reveal big things would be LVO this coming Friday or Saturday, whenever the event is. That seems really soon because pre-orders would go up like 2 days later. So I don't know. Let's see here. Let's see. Rules are written for the dispossessed warriors. Doesn't prevent you from picking a great weapon and a shield. Okay. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. In the original post, he made it sound, you mean a two-handed weapon. I thought you meant two-hand weapons, like both hands would be occupied. So, yeah, go by what it says. It's not gamey. If you have the chance to take the shield, take the shield. I misunderstood. The old witch doctor corrected, so it sounds like if there's a great hand weapon, which would be two-handed, that was my misunderstanding. Let's see. Mythic Mason, Thankful is amazing. Hopefully we'll get some insights on his role in AOS. Totally agree. I want to do a Thankful video for sure because I hope they make him epic. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he is already epic because his model's amazing, but I mean like his story arc epic and what he's been doing for so long. Let's see here. Most Ascension stuff is hella old. Needs an update. Don't think they'll be axed. Fair enough. Okay. I personally would like to see dynamic storm vermin. I like the storm vermin models. Actually, after seeing Marks, who has like the monochrome scheme with like the really glowy stuff. If you haven't seen them, go look at Rerolling Ones. Look at any Skaven video. They look awesome. Love them. Let's see here. Two-hand great weapon. I tried to get the message across simple as can. Sorry to confuse you. Oh no. It was my bad. I misspoke. I just misread it. I'm trying to read both things at once. You are totally fine, my friend. Let's see. What does a Skaven army look like? Pretty much it's up to you. Well, yeah, because if you get universal buffs on everything and it doesn't really matter, you can take whatever you want. And you don't have to dedicate yourself to any clan, you just take all of the stuff. Dig deeper, however, you'll find all sorts of unusual army builds. Support an artillery line of Plague Claw catapults with bulky rat ogres, field a super elite force of storm vermin, or field a convocation of terrifying vermin lords. The possibilities are nigh endless. Of course, if you'd rather be focused on one of the great clans, you can still do that. In fact, you'll be rewarded by focusing your efforts on with a special battle line choices. Okay, that's perfect. So you do unlock special battle line choices, but because they're all in the same battle tome, my assumption is no matter what, clan rats will always be battle line for you, which is really cool. And I'm very excited about that. Let's see here. Skaven Battletome will be available pre-order alongside Carrion Empire, Battletome Flash Eater Quartz, and more. That's awesome. Let's see if you get started. Let's go. They offer like, hey, get started with Clan Pestilence, which honestly, after seeing all this cool stuff, not that I wouldn't touch Clan Pestilence. I still like Clan Pestilence. I really do. But like, Warplock Engineers sounds so cool, and just the clan rats are so iconic. Yeah. Grayseers, I want them to be back in a big way. So yeah. AT in the chat says Plague Monks give even more killy. Yeah, man. I mean, goodness gracious. Like, some of these things, let's see. Oh, they get more killy over some stuff they already had. Like, for example, strength in numbers was something they already had before. But getting their heroes better buffs, like the overwhelming mass and scurry away, gives them, I don't know, definitely more. More what they needed for sure. I'm trying to think of what else. I am kind of curious to see if, so the Verminous and the Molder traits, I guess you could say, are pretty simple and straightforward. There's summed up really well in these nice little entries, but the Clan Pestilence one and the Scryer one really do take like an entire page to get out there, and so I wonder if they'll be simplified as well. I'm not sure. They could just copy and paste, because honestly, they're both pretty fun. And having access to the rest of the Skaven stuff shores up any weaknesses that those armies have, so it would be cool. But yeah, I don't know. Like for what I'm saying is, Verminous thing here seems really small compared to like the 2 pages that it needs to explain what the Great Plagues are versus how to roll for them and all that stuff. So I don't know. See, nothing beats the Doom Wheels. Let me see. So I'm not a Skaven player, but let me look at the one that I'm most excited for. I love the Arch Warlock model. I know he used to be a named character, I think. As far as models that I am most excited to see, it's got to be the Hellpit Abomination. If I was ever going to make a Skaven army, which I don't have any plans to, but you guys know me, my heart changes with the wind. This dude with like 17 rats and ogres all like fused together. I love Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster, I'm sorry. And this thing is just like the epitome of that. Oh, I love it so much. It just looks so wicked. You think we'll see previews on the terrain and endless spells? I don't know. I would like to. If nothing else, I want to see what they're trying to convey. Like, I assume the Skaven terrain is gnawholes, which will probably have to do with movement, deployment. Yeah, like teleporting units across the battlefield or deploying them in an alternate way. The throne for Flesh Eater Courts, I have no idea. That's like totally out of left field. I'm not sure what a throne's trying to do in the middle of battle, but yeah. Queek Head Taker was my favorite. I loved Queek Head Taker's role in the end times, where he just went like mega beast on just to started slaying everything. I can't remember which end times book that was. It's been like 2 years now since I read them. But yeah, lots of tons of fun. And this entire time, can someone let me know in the chat if you've been watching for quite a while? I'm on 40 minutes now. Has there been any internet connection problems at all? Because this whole thing started with me trying to test my internet connection. Can't wait to get the lore on the Flesh Eater Court stuff. Yeah, I already did a Flesh Eater Courts week, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I think I'm going to do maybe another video or two, maybe bringing them up to date. Like, the main things I want to talk about with Flesh Eater Courts is how they view the events of the Necroquake and Nagash's machinations. Because before, he was kind of a side note in their story, but now he's a defining part of the lore for every faction that's come out since. So I'm interested in that. And then as far as Skaven, I'm trying to think of what I'm most excited for. Probably the Great Horned Rat. I want them to like really solidify what he's doing, and also where their place is, because I can't remember the name. My mind's drawing a blank. I just got off work, but they have their own little pocket realm they've carved out with all their gnaw holes. I think it's Skaven Blight. I might be making that up, but yeah, I want to know more about that place, how it functions, and things like that. So it looks like everything's working fine with the stream. That's great. Let's see. Can't come to too many live streams. It's 3:35 a.m. Ooh. That's unfortunate. I am gonna try to do at one point, if I get like a holiday weekend or something, doing like a 12-hour stream that I can get everyone in most places. That'd be kind of fun. It would just be a big hobby extravaganza. You're my primary source for lore. I started Flesh Eater Courts thanks to you. Oh, well, thank you so much. That's awfully great to hear. I really do appreciate that. I always love hearing that people get excited about stuff. That's kind of the main thing for me. Is like when I started this channel, nobody was excited for Age of Sigmar, but hearing people be like, "Hey, you know what? This ain't so bad." Let's talk about this art. I love the style of it, where it's almost like this, like watercolor in the background. It kind of just bleeds into things, and then it's really nice fine detail. All kinds of cool inventions. They haven't changed much in terms of wacky equipment and over the top, I don't know, contraptions. So I am very excited about this. This was actually probably one of the better preview articles they've ever done in terms of giving you real information. A lot of times they're like, you'll be blown away by these top 10 things, and give you one of them, and it's not kind of vague. There's no context. But this is a great job of like, we gained a lot of information. You know, there are 4 main army traits. We know that 2 spell lores exist. We have a few previews, as well as kind of some basics on army construction. So I think it's all looking good. I'm curious about the Skyer lore of Warpvolt galvanism. I'm curious because the preview they give us, he only buffs a unit from that same clan. I'm really curious if he'll have spells that buff everyone. So that'd be kind of cool. Like if there was a way to supercharge clan rats, I'd be all about that. Let's see here. And what else? I think that's pretty much it for today's previews. Let me just make sure before I hop offline here. Didus Giganticus. Yep, I think that's about it. So everyone, thank you for joining me and letting me test my internet connection. Witch Doctor just hopped in. I know it's kind of unrelated, but considering new releases, what Battletome army would get you the most hyped besides Slaves to Darkness? Free Peoples. I've said it for a while. The biggest things that GW needed to do this year was Skaven and Free Peoples. Skaven because they're the most iconic fantasy IP they have, and Free Peoples because they allow us to see the universe through a human's eyes, because we do not relate to a lightning demigod. Free Peoples, if that book dropped and they had like a cog fort, which is what they've been describing in books a lot, which is like literally a mobile fortress, which would explain a terrain piece because it's mobile. Let me just toss you that ball, GW. It would be an explainable terrain piece, and it would probably look amazing. And that's one where if it's good enough, and like in terms of like easy to get into, all the units make sense, the lore is not too far out there, like I could see myself jumping into Free Peoples. So yeah. AT, do you think the Great Horned Rat will become a major chaos god at some point? Technically he is, the other ones just don't like him. That's kind of how it's been described. Like in the first Age of Sigmar book that came out, the Mighty Battles of Unending War, whatever it was called, the first campaign book that wasn't part of the Realmgate Wars. They basically describe him. He is ascended. He is one of the Chaos Gods, but they just don't like him. They view him as this annoying little cousin. And Mark, hey Doug, so nice to see you grow over the years. First heard about you on Garage Hammer. And you have been a fantastic. When was I on? I was never on Garage Hammer. Maybe I left a voicemail or something. I do voicemails every couple of months. So, yeah, Dave and those guys at Garage Hammer are awesome. They actually got me into the hobby because I saw people playing Warhammer Fantasy Battles locally, and I had owned a few models when I was a kid, but hearing their coverage of End Times, that kind of stuff got me super pumped. So, yeah. Boss Slagfist says Morgor is a god, right? He is worshipped by the Gave spawn beasts of chaos, but here's the thing. Like, with Age of Sigmar, there's like the gods, capital G, and then there's gods with a lowercase g, which are like, people talk about them as deities, but they haven't fleshed out enough information to make them like, so I can give you a firm answer. By that I mean like Kurnoth is another one where like we know he exists, we know he's active, but we don't know anything else besides that. He's just kind of like, and this guy's also here. And Morgar is like that. In the Beast of Chaos book, they're like, Morgar is here, these people worship him. The other Beasts of Chaos think they're crazy because you shouldn't worship anyone, but they're here worshiping change, and everything's mutating around them, becoming spawn, which is super awesome. It's why I play Gave spawn. But again, he's one of those things, like I said, lowercase g, where it's like, people worship him, but that's all there is to it. And here's the thing, Jack. Maybe I will make that shirt. I need to do that. I need to make that, and I need to make one with a cartoon picture of Tom from Warhammer Weekly, because I've been watching a lot of their stuff on Carriage and Overlords lately. And his saying is, "Let me be perfectly clear." We should just have matching shirts. Oh, you were joking. I'm sorry. I want him to be too. There's a lot when I joked about those like little lowercase g gods. I say that because there's a lot of those kinds of things where I want more explanation. I want more engagement from some of the demi or lower gods in the realms. Because the idea of, well, here's the thing. Here's why I bring it up. What constitutes a god, right? What makes you kind of enter into that top tier? Because Marathi wants it. Archeon kind of wants it. The Great Horn Rat apparently achieved it, but we don't really know how. What separates him from like Kurnoth or Morgar? They're both worshipped. It's kind of a weird nebulous space. I want the Flesh Eater Courts are the best army in the game shirt. That might sell like hotcakes now they got a new book coming out. Would it be better story-wise if we see Sigmar being more emotional? I remember him being angry at Nagash, being huge potential for that Greek-style drama. I think the best thing for Sigmar as a character is just more books by Josh Reynolds, because he was in Soul Wars, and you just liked him. Like, Josh Reynolds is great scene setting as, like, the world goes quiet around him. He walks but doesn't leave footsteps, because he floats above the snow because he's not really there. He's just showing you kind of like a piece of him. That kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I think if you're interested in what he should be perceived as, go read Soul Wars. But I think just more books about the drama of the gods would be really cool. Dr. Bolt, does anyone else want to see a Sigmar model? I'm not sure that I do. For the same reason that like Alariel and Nagash, I love the models. The models are incredible. And yes, I want to see a model for it. But as far as on the table, it's like when you kill Alariel, I mean, narratively, it's like she shouldn't die, man. You read all the books and she is the powerhouse. Josh Reynolds, I swear he's written half the AOS books. You know, he actually hasn't, but I just talk about him so much, it probably makes it sound like it. Hello, everyone joining the stream. I am sorry. I'm actually going to shut it down here pretty quick and go grab some dinner with my wife. But, yeah, no, we did a cool little breakdown. You should go back in time with the power of YouTube and go watch it. We broke down all the stuff that came out with the Skaven tomes, and I had a chance to test my internet connection because it's been really funky lately. But now I can get back to doing live streams up tomorrow for you folks, so you'll know what's coming. I have my first battle report coming up. I put a lot of work into it. It is about 16 minutes long, and it is a very heavy focus on narrative and storytelling versus specific dice rolls and things like that. So tell me if you like it. Again, it's a proof of concept. I would love some feedback, and if there's 59 of you, I can get at least some ideas. So yeah, it is just with the models that I already owned. I wanted to test kind of my concepts before I started inviting guests over. So it's my Slaves of Darkness versus my Beasts of Chaos, and they just duke it out because I wanted to go through what my kind of battle reports would look like. So yeah, so it starts off with a fun story segment. The game happens, and it concludes with a fun story segment. Lots of special effects and music and all kinds of cool stuff. So if you could, just leave me some constructive criticism there, and I look forward to that very, very much. The thing is, as I have a hobby hangout, I can just talk about whatever. Doing that battle report showed me a problem that I have where I don't have enough memory on my computer. We got one of the new egg bundles and it didn't have a lot of space on it. So I have to go, before I can do another one, I have to go buy another hard drive or something like that. Not sure if I'm going to do an SSD or an external one. But, so that'll have to happen. But it gives me time to improve on my process. So this week is going to be the battle report, and then probably a live stream again on Friday. And then maybe live stream. Try to think if I have something to do on Friday. But then next week we'll be right back with lore videos and stuff like that. And the following week is when I will be ready for probably Skaven lore. So look forward to all those things. I am super interested. I will talk to y'all very, very soon.